YouTubers, Joe Kersey here on April 29th, 2017 at the clock has just struck noon. So a hair after 1200 Eastern time. Well, maybe a little bit before actually. I guess my clock's fast. We're back in our traditional setting today. We've had fairly steady, at times moderately heavy to heavy rain all night and into this morning now with thunder and lightning, and I could lay into the north bedroom there and you'd see the lightning flashes and you'd hear the thunder. Fortunately, no damage here, near here. I saw lightning strike the WSU TV and radio tower about a mile and a half east of me this morning, and you see that happen a lot. I mean, hell, the thing's like 2,200 feet high, so you expect it to get hit. We really haven't had one of these steady all day, let's have thunder and lightning rains in a fair amount of time. This hasn't been, we haven't had a lot of wind with this, fortunately. So we still have some more. We have probably about another 6-8 hours of this, more or less. There, see, hear that? I hope that wasn't something hitting the house. I wouldn't be surprised. Well, as is often the case here, we go from the sublime to the ridiculous. At least that's the pattern for today. Other times we go from the ridiculous to the sublime. Or try to anyway. Or sometimes achieve that effect unintentionally. Here we have a sunrise. I think I showed you this picture before. You probably can't read this on the screen, but I'll read it to you. Silence is the absence of something. No, I'm sorry. That's incorrect. Silence is not the absence of something. It is the presence of everything. That's important enough to say again. Silence is not the absence of something. It is the presence of everything. And this is by a fellow named Gordon Hempton, who's an acoustic ecologist who's been studying the Northwest forests, trying to find the most absolute silent piece of ground in the United States. He says he thinks he's got it narrowed down to a square inch. This was in the Economist. It was quoted in the Economist on their Christmas Eve issue of 2016. And it was actually it was in an article about meditation, the practice of meditation, silent meditation. This guy sounds very interesting. I would add that a corollary of that is eternity is the simultaneous presence of all time. And I can't remember where I first read that. But when I was reading a fair amount of theology here about 4 or 5 years ago, I ran across that, and I thought that was a great image. Eternity is the simultaneous presence of all time. So, I'll leave you with two things. Well, I don't leave you. I use these as points of departure for today. Yesterday, as promised, I went to the optometrist down at, who's located, as part of, but not associated with, lens crafters down there at the Fashion Plate, the Polaris Fashion Place. And the visit went very well, actually. I was intrigued to see all the spiffy new gadgets that they had in just the last 5 years. Um, and a very pleasant optometric technician did the initial sort of, look at this stuff and wave your arm and what do you see, etc. And part of it was done on an iPad. The colorblind test. Of course, the puff in the eye and that sort of stuff's fairly standard and traditional still. And then in terms of your peripheral vision, they did something to evaluate that, but it was very different from the machine I had encountered before. Apparently, I have developed a loss of about half of my blue color vision. It's an interesting little finding. I wonder if all the time I'm spending on this computer has anything to do with that, since the computers put out a lot of blue light. I was interested to see what my refraction would come out as. I found my refraction from 1993, so 24 years ago. And then I found my refraction from 2012, so a little over 5 years ago. Interestingly, the spherical stuff, meaning the major refraction, the stuff you think about is like how nearsighted are you, how far-sighted are you, that sort of thing, has remained identical. What's changed are the cylinder and axis, which have to do with astigmatism. And my astigmatism has been all over the place over the years. And then a more positive correction on my bifocal element. But I did find out some stuff. Excuse me. I found out that, as I had suspected, my cataracts, I now have cataracts in both eyes, but not bad, but they're clearly more marked than they were 5 years ago. I only had them in one eye 5 years ago. I also found out, and this is of more significance, hopefully not more significance, but potentially of more significance, is I have bilateral vitreous degeneration. Not severe, not even moderate, but there are little vitreous separations at the back of my retina in both eyes. Not any around the front part of the eye and the peripheral retina, which is good. This will make me more prone to retinal detachment over time. That's something to carry around in the back of your mind. But they did they photographed the back of the eye, and I remembered from 5 years ago what my retina looked like. I'm going to tell you, the retina looks a hell of a lot better now than it did 5 years ago. My blood vessels are absolutely fine. Hell, I'd say they look like a 20-year-old's almost. My macula's absolutely fine. The deposits that I had, like some drusen and stuff I had 5 years ago, gone. So, good news. And despite the fact the prescription didn't change all that much, I needed to get new bigger lenses anyway than these. And it's good to have somebody look in the back of your eye every now and again. I think I'm going to try to have somebody do that now every 2 years. Maybe every year, but every 2 years for sure. So the Medicare is not going to cover much of any of this, if at all. I ordered a set of clear bifocals, and I ordered a set of these transition things, also in bifocal, the ones that get dark when you go outside and get undark when you come inside. The two of those went to about $570, which isn't bad. I mean, I expected that. I couldn't read my customer receipt yesterday. Because I was dilated. It's always taken me a long time to recover from when they dilate your eyes. So I couldn't really read anything at all till this morning. So I looked at the materials this morning, and it looked like they have here on the receipt that I ordered plastic lenses for the transitions, for the the potentially darkening lenses. Well, no. Both of these things are supposed to be glass lenses. So I spent an hour this morning. I called them at 10, and they said they'll call back. Fine. Actually, I called them around 9:30. They said we'll call back. Fine. No, I lied. No, I called them right at 10. That's when they opened, and they said we'll call back. Great. It's 10:30. Well, I called them again. Oh, we'll call back. Okay, it's 11 o'clock, and I've got some things I want to get done. Basically, I wanted to go to the can, so I wanted to do. But I didn't want to go into the can and have to deal with these people on the phone while I'm in the can, So, I called them. I wasn't an asshole, but I think the tone of my voice made it clear that I really wanted something dispositive done with this now. I did speak with the individual who dealt with me yesterday, which is good. And she says, yeah, I mean, we made sure that those were entered as glass lenses and so forth. And indeed, she did. She says, I have no idea why they showed up as plastic on the receipt. She says, I'm going to track it down. And I said, good. I said, can you generate a new receipt indicating that they're going to be glass? She said, I'll try to see if we can do that. Well, obviously if I go down there in 3 weeks, 4 weeks time and these things are plastic, I'm not going to take delivery of them. They're going to have to make it good. Well, so that was my little, that's the ridiculous part of the sublime to ridiculous story today on that. Well, there it is. My son sent me a picture of my grandson sitting on the stairs listening to music on an iPad. His earphones on. Well, I suppose it's better than playing video games. I don't know. But anyway, his dad said that he'd used up all of his electronic time for the day already. Because Carter gets up early. I mean, he gets up, he'll get up like at 4:30 or 5, and get on this computer stuff. And I don't know how many hours a day they let him have. I think they let him have maybe potentially 2 hours a day. Of course, he's used it up, by the time his parents get up, Well, it's a lot of fun, and we're here safe. I read in church at 8 tomorrow. Got the schedule for next month. I'm surprised I'm not reading it first Sunday of the month. I don't know. Well, let's just say I was surprised to be left out of that, given that there's going to be a big, 200th anniversary celebration and so forth. Actually, they're having like a. No, it doesn't matter. Ain't about me. That's that pride fucking with you, Joe. Alrighty. On that note, bye-bye, YouTubers.